If you're like me, you probably watched a video of the murder of Alex Preddy and thought to yourself, why the fuck is my government killing people with my tax dollars in my name? I was in Minneapolis last Monday, and I remember hearing the jarring sounds of whistles that you hear at soccer practice on every corner. It's become the sound of an imminent ice raid. That's what it sounds like when your government occupies the city in your country instead of funding your healthcare.
In our new normal, where militarized forces patrol our streets in a way that this country has never really seen or experienced before, when we are being occupied and harassed by our own government, the hard reality is that we are all paying for all of this with our own tax dollars. And these ICE occupations have already cost American taxpayers $500 million, because that is what it takes when you empower and fund these forces as if they're an entire nation's military. And what's worse is that if we continue on the track that we're on, rather if the Trump administration keeps us on this path, it could easily cost taxpayers a cool $1 billion. From The Intercept, during his second term, Trump has deployed active duty troops and National Guard members to occupy 6 Democratic-led cities to quell dissent, assist anti-immigration efforts, protect federal buildings and personnel, or address crime. After repeated setbacks in federal courts and the Supreme Court's refusal to allow a military occupation of Chicago, the Trump administration withdrew forces from California, Oregon, and Illinois earlier this month. Troops are still deployed in D.C., Memphis, and New Orleans. 200 members of the Texas National Guard also remain on standby for deployment. These ongoing operations will cost $93 million per month in 2026, according to the CBO. That's right, $93 million per month. In Washington, D.C. alone, the cost is expected to exceed $660 million between now and December. In 2025, for comparison, the CBO reported that Trump occupations in D.C. cost roughly $223 million. So 2026 is expected to see that figure tripled. And also in 2025, another $193 million was spent in the Los Angeles occupations. However, the Trump administration has always been reluctant to provide these figures in a way that they are readily available to the public. Hannah Homestead of the National Priorities Project, which is a nonpartisan research group, put it simply: they are spending billions to militarize our streets while cutting food aid, healthcare and social services, and labor and environmental protections at a time of unparalleled wealth inequality. Some members of Congress have spoken out about this also, notably Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I'm angry because I'm on my way over to vote no on the Republicans' bill to keep funding ICE. Let me tell you just how bad this bill really is. This budget rewards ICE with $10 billion more dollars. That is on top of the $75 billion that Republicans gave ICE over the summer. And this budget does nothing to rein in ICE. Nothing. Even after masked federal agents shot and killed another American citizen. It does nothing for Alex Preddy. It does nothing for Renee Good. It does nothing for the families and communities across this country that are being terrorized by Donald Trump's ICE. It has no common sense reforms at all. So, what else does it do? Does it lower healthcare costs? Does it lower utility costs for families? No. Donald Trump doesn't need another blank check from Congress to keep making life more dangerous and more expensive for American families. I'm not just a no, I'm a hell no.
Our military budget is not a slush fund for the president to carry out his political stunts. Our National Guard and Marines are needed to respond to natural disasters and national security threats. Ripping them away from their homes, jobs, and families in pursuit of a cruel immigration agenda is a disrespect to their service. And also Senator Tammy Duckworth had this to say: if Donald Trump is burning through hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars on his authoritarian campaign of intimidation, The American people deserve to know about it. Trump's continued abuse of our military to intimidate Americans in their own neighborhoods, the very same Americans he expects to foot the bill for these deployments, must end immediately. Meanwhile, protests against ICE occupations are persistent, not just in Minnesota, but across the country. And as the administration struggles to justify or explain away ICE shootings that have been recently made very, very public, with videos of these killings going viral on social media, ICE is losing some of the little support it once had. While Renee Good and Alex Preddy have become household names for all of the wrong reasons, the Trump administration has shown the American people that it has absolutely no problem lying on behalf of its ICE agents. The lies aren't working well because they're easily, quickly, and directly contradicted by the multiple videos of the shootings showing multiple angles of the incident. It's crystal clear that the official responses from the administration are completely detached from reality, to the point that even the most ardent Trumpsters have to sacrifice their own mental acuity and autonomy in order to make some sense out of what they hear from the likes of Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller and Trump and Vance. But this is nothing new. No, it turns out that they're practiced at this. The Washington Post reported earlier this week that the Trump administration has publicly defended 16 DHS shootings since July. Not only that, but those public defenses came out before any kind of probes had been completed. So the real message that we're getting from this administration is that ICE can do whatever it wants and they will have the full backing and protection of the Trump White House, regardless of what the truth is, regardless of what the actual story is. And they seem to know this, these ICE agents. We see how bold they are. Bold and stupid, which is a really bad and dangerous combination. We saw them attempt to enter a foreign embassy because they are bold and stupid. But when confronted with someone within the embassy, the ICE agent was so bold that he told the embassy worker that if he touches him, he will grab him. That would have been an international incident. Just the fact that they tried to enter the embassy at all has already tarnished diplomatic relations, but it could have been a lot worse because our government has empowered bold and stupid people. But back to those 16 ICE shootings that our government decided to excuse, here's what the Post found. Most of the incidents involved officers firing at drivers during enforcement stops in cities like Los Angeles and Chicago, where DHS has surged federal immigration officers. At least 10 people have been struck by bullets, including 4 U.S. citizens, and 3 people have been killed. And to make matters even worse, lawyers say officials have been quick to pursue felony charges against those fired at, though in 4 of 10 cases, prosecutors have either dropped charges or a judge has dismissed them after evidence emerged contradicting the government's narrative of events. How about that? And of course, none of the officers of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, U.S. Border Patrol, or Homeland Security investigations has faced criminal charges in any of the shootings, nor has the administration announced any internal disciplinary measures against them. Nothing, not even a slap on the wrist that says maybe try not to shoot people, just nothing. But perhaps the saddest news of all is that apparently morale amongst ICE agents is low. They're sad that nobody likes them. All of our tax dollars and all of those face masks and all of that deadly weaponry that they now possess and wield against the American people, they are surprised to find has not endeared them to the public. And what's more, apparently they're overworked. Not to mention, ground zero for all of these ICE raids have been Minnesota in the dead of a very, very cold winter. Those poor guys, they wanted the money, they wanted that fat bonus, they wanted all of those incredible benefits that no one else in this country gets, at least no one as unqualified and uneducated as ICE agents. But now, I guess what they say is true, no one wants to work anymore. They're complaining about long hours, high arrest quotas, and of course, public backlash. And also, they're tired of being dehumanized and facing violent backlashes to the violence that they're first inflicting on entire communities, which is both ironic and moronic, and I doubt they will elicit any sympathy. However, there is a hopeful note here. Now that they're on the front lines of the administration, it's being reported that many of them are growing disillusioned with ICE operations. I'm not sure what they expected when they took the job in the first place, but they are finally starting to see things for what they really are, and they don't like it. some of them. And another small silver lining is that while the administration claimed to have hired anywhere from 10 to 12,000 new agents in 2025, depending on who you ask, workforce data shows that the actual figure is just 7,114. Of those, 1,746 of them have already left ICE, which means that while they would like you to believe that there are 10 to 12,000 new agents out there, it's really only half that much, which is a good thing. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.